Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to Echoville. Um, Welcome to book club. Ian Fleming on Her Majesty's Secret Service, episode 2 of episode 16 of book club. That is a mouthful. I feel like I need to present a what's the word I used? I need to add a disclaimer at the beginning of this stream because there's a lot that has happened in the next 3 chapters, and it's going to be great.
So some of it is not necessarily family friendly.
Right.
We'll say that. We're not going to go into like super detail, but that's
right. Yeah. But there are certain references that you might want young ears to hear, or maybe some things that you might be sensitive to. Just think of such things. So we're reviewing the book and we're talking about it, and so none of anything that we discuss reflects our characters. I just want to put that out there.
At least not mine.
Well, some things might reflect mine, but we'll get into that later. We'll save that chapter 4. I'm going to take a peek at the chat and see who we have thus far. First, I want to thank the panel for being here. Ross who is my partner channel. His link is on the front of my page. If mods want to put links in, feel free. And we also have Classy Disney Mom who's joining us for the first time. This is Gina, and so we're excited to have her.
Gina, we hope she can hear us now.
Yeah, we hope she can hear us. Can you hear us?
I don't know if she can yet.
Yeah, so we're still working out some bugs.
Yeah.
We'll get there eventually. So I'm really excited to discuss these next 3 chapters because I just am, and you'll find out why. So I'm going to get to chat. First, we have Annie Coog. Welcome in. Hey, everyone driving, so won't be able to chat, but wanted to say hi and looking forward to book club today. Annie, drive safe, and I'm glad you were listening. I hope you enjoy it. Christine Hickman, welcome in. It's Joey's World. Lisa, Keith, and Joey is listening, doing stuff, but she will be listening. Me saying we're coming because we were late. And Wendy Lulu, my Scottish gal. And I think I said Kristen Hickman already. Oh, Chris, Dad Builds, welcome in.
Hey, Chris.
All right. So,
Christine, you should come on with us too if you read all the books.
Oh yeah, Christine, come on. I'll shoot you a link. Actually, if anybody wants to join us,
yeah,
I'll pop the link in chat. If you've read the book, even if you've seen the movie, it would be great to have a movie perspective because I have not seen the movie. I think Russ has.
Yeah, I've seen it, but it's been a while, and I plan to watch. Actually, I watched Octopussy the other day, which is another Bond film.
Yeah, I think
the first one with Roger Moore. So,
Jason's watched all of them, and I lose track of which one's which.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't know. I'm like, oh, I don't know anymore. Mike Wheeler, welcome in. Surf Bomb, John, hello, good to see you. All right, so the link is in chat. If you would like to, if you've read the book or if you've seen the movie and you want to come on and join us, please feel free. You have to copy the link and paste it. You can't just click. I don't know if you'll be able to click on it and it'll work. Restream is weird. Excuse me, my goodness. So you might have to just copy and paste. So let's get started. Chapter 3. I have notes, guys. Notes. I took notes.
I have notes too.
All right. Let's start off. Start at chapter 3. We're back on the ship. So we've been going back and forth with actually no, because at the end of chapter 2, it was all memory.
Yeah.
Now the start of chapter 3, we're back on the ship. If you
well, it's not really a ship. It's more like a dinghy boat, like one of those rubber raft type things.
Yeah, you say tomato, I say tomato. I don't know.
Well, because there's things that happen here that kind of go along with that. So
yeah. So we're back on the boat, and he's plotting how to get off. And then what happened? It was like booms happened. Were like gunshots or something? Did I miss?
No.
What was the booms he was talking about?
He was thinking in his mind how to escape.
Right.
So he's thinking, okay,
Oh.
so I'm here in the middle of the boat with Tracy. I've got my knife.
Yep.
There's these two guys. They've got automatic rifles. We're coming close to shore. Is there any way that we could get, I could slash the boat with my knife and go into the water and swim to shore without getting killed,
Right.
and be able to save Tracy. So he's going through in his mind the scenario as to how to get out,
right,
and how to escape, but he can't do it. There's no way that both of them would survive.
Exactly.
So he just holds off.
He holds off. Yeah. Real quick, Francisco, welcome in. It's good to see you. I wish Tracy was here to say your name. It's not the same without him. Yeah, sorry, that took me on a thought tangent. So, all right, then he goes back to the memory.
Yep. Then we flash back to this Casino Royale.
Yep. And a whole bunch of things happen in this. He says how to play a game. He's looking for the girl, and I have to quote my favorite line in this chapter when he says he knew he'd recognize her at once. Quote, if only by the cord of animal magnetism that had bound them together during the race. I love that line.
Of course, that's at the end of the chapter.
I know, but
there's a lot that happens in this chapter.
Is there? Yeah, that's true. Well, that's the thing. I got so confuzzled, and I don't know if that's a word, but it is now. Between what was happening in the game, there was this like old English lady or something who took over. There's this guy smoking a cigar, and I'm just like I couldn't get a visual. Also because my kids were wild and crazy this morning, so as I'm trying to listen to this and do breakfast and deal with this and that and the other thing and schoolwork and whatever, it was like twitch.
All right, so I'll set the scene for you. So basically, they go into the casino, or he goes into the casino, and he sits down to a game of Bunko, which is his favorite game to play. And Bunko is a gambling game. I don't know how to play it. It's very European, but it's basically whoever can draw the right amount of cards and make the right amount of score or number or whatever it is, well, then however much money you placed, then you could win. But you can also gamble and bet on other players and also win. And so that's where sometimes you see some of the characters, they say, okay, well, I'm going to put some money down on Bond because we know he's going to win. And so everyone kind of is able to win at the same time.
Okay.
So that's where you have the characters, and they're, it's a large group. They kind of talk about there's two guys that are sitting there playing. They're kind of drunk, but they're having fun. You've got the little old lady there who is just probably an estate owner and just very wealthy. Yep. And she's very skilled at this game. And then you have the brute kind of guy who's smoking a cigar, who's, very gruff and, so he, and then you have, I forget, there was a couple of other people too, but they it's kind of, in the background. Mm-hmm. Well, because this is such a high stakes game, there's also like a crowd, like all around them. Mm-hmm. Because they're starting, and they even mentioned the different conversion in the monies. So there's the old francs and new francs, and the new francs are worth more than the old francs. And of course, that also kind of goes back to where Bond was talking about. He liked working with the old francs because it seemed like there were, it was old, just the old style, and you had to carry more of it, and it just more flashy kind of. And so they play the game, and it talks about the first round. He sits down, and his mind really isn't on the game. He's sitting there thinking about Tracy, because that's all he's really, so he's looking for Tracy, but he's just kind of killing time right now.
This is so relatable. When you get your mind set on something and it's like you have tunnel vision, mm-hmm. And this is where he's at right now, where he's like, he's in the zone. He's in the Tracy zone. First, real quick, Jeffrey Resendez, welcome in. Tina McNeil, welcome in. My neighbor to the west. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, he's looking for Tracy, and she's still not there. He gets up and kind of walks around a bit, mills around, looks at some of the other tables. People are playing. He's just kind of there. I'm sure he gets a drink and just mingling around, still waiting for her. So he can't find her, and so he sits back down at the game. And this time, because he can't find Tracy, he's like, okay, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to actually play this game. So this is when he gets serious. And so he starts to win and win a lot because he's good at reading people. He knows how to look and see what's this person thinking.
And I think just to pipe in real quick, I think this is really funny because like you're getting a hint of like you're getting a sense of all of his characteristics. And it made me think of Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice, how all the girls fawn over. He's the perfect character. And I'm like, I'm sitting here and I'm going, and I love Pride and Prejudice as much as the next person, but I'm sitting here going, oh, no, I think, James Bond. Yep. Time the rank. Okay. That's it. So I want to say, Disney Andy, welcome in. Good to see you. Guys, if you are new and you are just catching this stream, please like and subscribe. If you like what you see, come check us out. Hang out. Be friends. Make friends with the chat. I appreciate you here. So, all right, go ahead, Ross. Keep going.
So he's playing. Actually, the little lady actually wins a hand, but he's okay with it because he kind of respects her because she's good at playing too. But he also kind of realizes, okay, well, I need to watch her, and so it kind of comes down between at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, to where it's the old lady, it's him, and it's the big gruff guy. They don't really actually give him a name. He's just the man from Leal is all his name. All they give him to be. So they're sitting there playing. Well, then Tracy comes in and sits down at the table and joins the game. And so, of course, obviously, Bond is intrigued now.
A tunnel vision coming to us.
Again, he kind of gets the tunnel vision again. Well, so Tracy plays the hand while she loses everything, and then turns to the concierge and basically says, I can't pay. Which in society of that time, if you couldn't pay your debt, that was basically, an X on your record to where you would never be able to play at any casino ever again. And it looks bad for anyone else in society. Everybody will shun you because you can't pay your gambling debt. And so you'll forever be known, it's kind of a scarlet letter in the gambling world. And so, so there's lots of commotion, especially within the little crowd that's there. And now, the player, and actually the man from Leal is the one that wins, and, he takes her money, and he knows that he's still going to get paid because the casino will pay for it.
Yep.
But again, he's kind of proud of himself for doing this to her.
Yep. Hold on, real quick. Rob Fuzz, welcome in. Good to see
Rob.
you.
And so the next thing that happens because of Bond's tunnel vision, Bond decides to cover her. Bond decides to cover her and basically plays it off that, she didn't remember that we were supposed to be partners in this, and kind of plays it off. So it kind of saves her, which is kind of the theme of the next couple chapters. And so he covers her for the game. She actually leaves the game, doesn't play anymore. Bond continues to play because he wants to get Tracy's money back. And so He
Shelley
plays the
Stroud.
game.
I was
What's
welcoming.
that?
I was welcoming Shelley.
Oh,
Sorry.
hey, Shelly. So yeah, he continues to play, wanting to get his money back, but he ends up losing, and it's nothing just because of luck. It's nothing, the game he was playing well. It's just because of luck he drew the wrong cards. So he cashes out, gets up and leaves, and goes to the bar, which is where Tracy is.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the line, he says his name, and he's Bond, James Bond. And Tracy basically tells him that he gives him her room number, says to come later on because he's basically paid for whatever he wants. And it kind of surprises Bond, but also excites him. So
first the thrill of the chase, and then that animal magnetism that's electrifying his body, and bam! Now invitation from, I don't know, the girl of his dreams, maybe, who knows? Right. But holy cow, it's gonna get there, guys. So hold on to your hats. And like I said, there's a disclaimer at the beginning of this stream
for the next chapter, and I'll let Tina talk about it.
Oh yeah, okay. Tina's got a lot to say.
You obviously remember it.
Well, hold on. Here's the funny part. Hold on, I gotta get my cat back there. So the funny part, I'm going to show you what my notes say, okay? Top of my notes. Ready? Of course. Why did I agree to this? Top of my notes, all right? First chapter, bam. Completely hit with it. She was waiting in the big double bed. A single sheet pulled up to her chin. That's as far as I'm going to go. Leave the rest to your imagination. Read the book. Or don't read the book. If you can handle it, read the book. But holy cow, the whole thing, I'm sitting here going, okay, I need a block of ice, life size, please. Thank you very much. Just going to stick myself inside of it. And if you need me, I'll be backstage, is what I pretty much told Russ.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of meat inside of what's happening.
Probably the wrong word to use there. Chris, get on it. Get ready.
Wait, what did Chris say? Hold on. Where is it? Thank you, Russ. Why is he thanking you? Oh no. Oh, you can only imagine. He even talks about how she would be black. I don't know. Okay. Annie said, "Did you say this isn't family friendly? LOL. So I should have this on the. So I shouldn't have this on the car speaker with real. Yeah, and you might not want to do that. Yeah. And Chris, what is going on here? Why aren't you here? So, okay, train of thought derailed. Back on track. Okay. There's a lot in between the surface. I'll go with that. Of what's happening. Obviously, he's in a room.
There are things that they talk about.
Yes.
While doing other things.
Exactly.
There you go.
I think this trumps the apple. So at this point, I have some highlighted notes.
This is Dougie's fault, Tina.
And he's not even here to own up to this. I love you. Holy cow. And I really do. I'm glad that he suggested this book because there's so much to it. It's a really good book. It's not, for those that like chick flicks and not so much like the suspense guy-ish stuff, this really has a lot of both, or a little bit of both, or,
Well, we were talking about before we started the stream about how the books delve so much more into Bond's character.
Yeah, you get
a lot more of that in the book than you can in the film because, they're going from scene to scene to scene, and obviously all of this stuff we're getting ready to talk about is in the movies, so if you know Bond, you know that this is there. and so shouldn't be surprised. It's just there in detail in the book because they can't show you things on the screen.
And I think it's so. I'm going to use the words that Russ used to me. That's pretty much what the beginning of this chapter is. So, anyways, he leaves her room. Everything's done. I'm not.
Well, hang on. Let's. Okay. I'm going to delve in just a little bit.
Go ahead. I'll let you start.
Because she basically tells him to do whatever he wants, and she has the attitude of, I don't really care. I just want to feel something.
Right.
Because she is in a mental state that just she's in a mental state to where she really doesn't care anymore. She's depressed. We find out a little bit later why, but she's just kind of given up on the world, and so all she wants is to feel something, basically, and that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
So, but yes, then basically they finish the first time. Bond gets up to leave, and goes back to his room, but she tells him before he leaves to come back when he wakes up.
Well, this is the part that got me, because he doesn't say this until after he's already in his bed sleeping, and he says, hold on, all he remembered before he showered and got in between the cool, rough French sheets of his own bed and switched off his thinking about her. So that's important. But then it says, all he remembered before sleep took him was that she had said when it was all over, that was heaven, James, ... But he obviously did not switch off his thinking about her because he fell asleep thinking about her. And right. I really, that really gripped me, and I have that highlighted in the book.
And again, if you know Bond's character, and of course, if you know the movies, there always is that line, the, oh, James, that's basically this line, and so, but then, Bond, he's not usually thinking about the girl. He's thinking about the mission or what he has to do next. That's what's on his mind, But this time, Tracy's on his mind,
right?
Which is different for Bond. So,
yep. So yeah. Then he delves into No, we're past that. Sorry, I was trying to thought. Okay, so he sleeps and then he wakes up and then he goes back to her room.
Yep.
And more
about Chicka Bow Wow.
Well, he used to say it like so casually, like, yeah. You're going.
But again, they do it, and then she's like, all right, get out.
Yeah, she turns cold on him, and just like the claws come out, and she's like, oh,
yeah.
And
he questions her.
Yeah. Yep.
Out of concern.
Yeah.
Not because he's upset, but out of concern. And
the other thing was, before she fell asleep the night before, he could hear her sobbing quietly.
Yeah, she was crying, yes.
Now he's waiting for the tears to come again, but there's no tears.
Right.
She's like, and mean towards him.
Yeah.
And it says he felt a wave of affection for her, a sweeping urge to protect her, to solve her problems and make her happy. Oh, that made me teary-eyed.
And anyway, Christine, we'll discuss that in the next chapter, because that's the next chapter. So
yeah,
that's the reason was why she's upset.
Yeah. So okay, some more highlights. So he's trying to plead with her. He's saying, "Let me help you. You've got some trouble. That's not the end of the world. So have I. So has everyone else." And then she says, "Go to a place where you wouldn't want to go because it's not fun." And so he leaves and he thinks about whether to bang the door shut or to close it softly. And he closes it softly. And that also speaks volumes about the type of character that he has. And he said, harshness would do no good with this girl. She had it somehow, somewhere, too much of it. He went off down the corridor, feeling for the first time in his life totally inadequate. And I was like, for James Bond to feel inadequate, that's got to be like big. Because
he kind of feels like he's failed because he can't figure out what to do. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So now we're back on the boat.
Yep.
Flash forward. We're back on the boat.
Back on the boat.
It's the boat. It's a bombard. It says it's thrashing up the river, past the marina, narrowing banks, all that good stuff. Russ, go ahead. I'll let you take it.
Well, again, he's trying to figure out what to do. Yep. And, at this point, he's somewhat afraid because he doesn't know what to do. And this is something aside of Bond that you don't see, is that he's somewhat, afraid of okay, what's going to happen next? Now he's trying to prepare himself.
Welcome in, Garrett. Monarch Moment.
Hey, Garrett. He's trying to prepare himself and, still trying to figure out his situational awareness, that kind of stuff. And I like those scenes because I used to teach that situational awareness as to what in my martial arts stuff, and when you're trying to think of every little thing that could or could not happen and what the next move should be, and he's totally clueless. He does not have a clue what to do. So.
Yeah. And then he went back to the flashback.
Yeah, then flashback to breakfast.
And so this part really, what do I have written down here? So, he goes down to order a vehicle, right? He wants a vehicle, but I was confused by this because he already had a vehicle.
So he's sitting there at breakfast and he's basically just sitting there thinking about Tracy and worrying about her. And so he decides that he's going to follow her.
Right.
And so he rents another car so that she doesn't recognize.
That's why.
Because he's got a very recognizable car. Right. So he rents a small little car to be able to follow her. And then that ties up to that leads up to the scene from the beginning.
Right.
From chapter 1. Where they're on the beach, they get taken onto the boat, and so now we're back in present time.
Well, first, because I have to bring this up, when he goes and orders the car and he goes back to his room and watches out the window, he could see her white car, and he watches out the window until 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Sits there. Like, that's dedication. Mm-hmm. That another thing that speaks volumes about his character. Oops, my screen went black. Hold on.
Well, then of course too, you flash back to the first chapter where he's basically sitting on the beach all day for the rest of the evening.
And you have zero clue about why in the world he's sitting there, and you're thinking, because in the first chapter, I'm thinking he's on a mission. This girl's something. He's got to be, supposed to be following her or something. I have no idea that this is going to take us in this direction. And so, sorry, slight distraction. And so, yes, you're a slight distraction. He whispers, "Is that what I am? A slight distraction?" Yes. So I have another thing highlighted. No, I don't. Never mind. I'm not going to say that one. So let's see. Next page. Okay. So he follows her. He looked at the little white car that was not far from him. It is in the parking lot. Somehow he must stick close to her, watch over her, at least until he was satisfied that his deadly conclusions were wrong. Mm-hmm. Which we're going to find out, were they wrong or were they not wrong?
Well, I think that they go in a different direction than what he was thinking, for sure.
But we'll talk about that after. But yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's the next chapter. So I mean, which is so far my favorite chapter.
Yeah,
Chapter 5.
I'm hesitant to say what my favorite is. So
Chapter 4.
maybe.
Well, I was gonna say we get into the next part because they're back on the boat, and then they describe where they're at. They end up they're on they come up to a jetty, and there are two more men with guns, and a transport truck, which is basically a semi, and um, they Bond still is trying to figure out, okay, well, can I get away from this? Can we escape? Still doesn't find a way out. But he's looking at all of the details as he's going because it's Bond. He's got to figure out what to expect. He notices the license plate, and it is a company style plate, but it has the word Draco in it. And the truck is fairly new and very clean compared to a regular transport type truck. It is very well maintained, very well taken care of. They are put in the back of the trailer, and there are multiple boxes, mostly like televisions and electronics, basically. Of course, now this is electronics of the 60s, so they're large boxes. But then they go behind the boxes, and there's a card table there, and then multiple rooms on either side, and then a room at the end. And Tracy goes into a room, and you see that this room is somewhat decorated, very nice. But she goes in and shuts the door. Well, so this is where Bond now has an opportunity because he doesn't have to worry about Tracy's safety. And so he decides that he's going to make his move, and he goes to the end of the hall there at the end of the last door because he thinks, okay, well, this is probably the boss's room, or whoever's in charge, and just assumes that. And so he is able to spin around, kick the guy that's behind him, and he busts into the door with his knife ready to throw. And that's when we meet Draco, who is basically sitting there behind a desk with a smile on his face.
Yep.
And, like your typical Bond villain. Of course, we don't know who he is just yet.
The only thing he was missing was like a cat to stroke.
Yeah. Well, that's Blofeld.
Oh, that's true.
That's the guy we meet later. Hey, Rhonda. And so, yeah, basically, Draco tells him, settle down. I just want to talk. Let's have some drinks, and discuss some things. And so Bond he sees that there's a calendar behind Draco, and asks him the date and says it's September 16th, correct? And throws the knife and hits the calendar right behind Draco's head. And but it's funny because he actually hits September the 15th, which is the actual date.
Good aim.
And so it's funny, to me, I felt like, okay, Bond, and they even talk about how Bond is somewhat enamored by this guy, and that he kind of, I don't know, respects this guy just from his looks. And so Bond, decides, okay, well, let's sit down and let's chat, and that's where the scene ends. So, and then we go into chapter 5.
Boy, do we ever.
Frankie likes your hair.
Thanks, Frankie. Welcome in. All right, so the Capu. All right, that's a fun word to say. Capu.
Well,
Capu.
that's basically the word for like captain or leader.
Yeah, I dig it.
in,
The Union course. So he
in,
discovers.
in Corsican, I guess.
Yep, he
It's
discovers.
I think it's using is it using course or cause? Because it was hard to understand.
I don't know. Well, I'm trying to remember what David Tennant said as I was listening to the book.
Yeah,
Uh,
but either way, it's just the union.
right.
It sounds more. I don't know. It makes more sense as cause to me, but it could be course as well.
It says more. It's an innocent title, but it's more deadly and perhaps even older than the Junior Siliciano. I'm Italian. I can't even say the words.
Sicilians.
Shame on me. My grandmother would slap me. AKA the mafia.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Then so Bond goes into down he's in his thoughts and he's thinking of this guy and his credits and all this.
Well, he's thinking of what he knows about the union.
Right. He's going through his memory bank of all of his knowledge of that stuff and stuff that bored me a little bit, but that's okay. So,
well, it kind of talks a little bit about like Rommel's treasure, which is World War II treasure.
That's right.
That he thinks that's how they're basically funding themselves, as they found Rommel's treasure.
Really, Jeff?
Hey, Jeff.
Jeff says
and yeah, that basically he's remembering that the Union is very, very powerful. So.
Yes, that's right. And so, let's see. We have some dialogue that goes on. Basically, he's really being nice to Bond. He gives him a drink. He's wanting, I think, to get on his good side because he knows Bond. He knows his character.
Well, he knows more than his character. He knows exactly who he is and where he's from.
Exactly. Like his whole bio, this guy could probably recite, which is in itself respectable. The fact that he actually could do that. But so he says, if you tell me the secrets that affect my profession, I'm afraid I shall have to pass them on. That I fully in this accent. Holy cow. When David Tennant was doing these accents, I was just like, he is amazing. Because on with them and really gave life to the characters.
Yeah.
But I was also reading along as I was listening to Tennant read. Because some of the words, because a lot of these words are French, it's really hard to understand unless you're actually looking at the words on the paper. Yeah. Or the computer, I should say. So yeah. Let's see. Hold on. Frankie says, also, Russ, I love your shirt. Do you hate Kermit? Do you have Kermit's new voice? Do you hate Kermit's new voice actor as much as I do?
He's not the same, that's for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard him. No, wait. Yes, I did. Okay.
Well, he's definitely no Jim Henson, but that's a whole other stream. So.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they announced that the Muppet Show will be on Disney Plus. The whole series. I'm so excited. Yes.
I haven't seen that since I was a kid.
I know. It's good.
Wow. All right. Sorry. Slight tangent. So basically, he wants to make a deal with Bond, and we're gonna find out why. First, he goes into the story of here we go. We're gonna learn a lot about Tracy, aka Teresa. So
Teresa.
So he talks the story, and he goes into again. There's no really other way to put it, but he meets this English governess who was a romantic. She had come to Corsica to look for bandits, and then he smiled, rather like some English women adventure into the desert to look for sheiks. She explained to me later that he must have been possessed by a subconscious desire to be a word that I really have trouble saying because it's disturbing. It starts with an R and ends with a D, and I'm not going to say the full word.
Yeah.
And he goes in to say that he did.
Mhm.
But then he says that she found me in the mountains, and she wouldn't leave me afterwards. He couldn't get rid of her.
Mhm.
So he, there was a wildness in her, a love of unconventional, and for God knows what reason, she liked the months of being chased from cave to cave, of getting food by robbery at night. So basically living like savages is what I'm gathering, right?
Well, she was a governess that wanted to be a bad girl.
So good girl gone bad. Okay. So in those crazy months, I came to love this girl, he says. I smuggled her away from the island to Marseilles and married her. He paused and looked at Bond. The result, my dear commander, was Teresa, my only child, which is Tracy. So it gets really good. It gets really, really good. So
And then Bond is like, well, that kind of explains some of it because you've got,
wild lady.
you know, from her background that kind of explains her personality.
Yeah. And so then Mafia Boss, which is what I've nicknamed him, he says, my wife died 10 years ago. He sent the girl off to Switzerland for education, and she turned wild. And then I'm trying to skim through this real quick to get my memory jogged. And I just read this, so it should be fresh, but of course, I was probably still reeling from chapter 4. So, let's see. She entered the fast international set that one reads of in the newspapers: the South American millionaires, the Indian princelings, the Paris English and Americans, the Playboys of Cannes, and Gustave. She was always getting in and out of scandals. And when I remonstrated with her, cut off her allowance, some sort of even grosser folly to spite me. So he's trying to be a father, pretty much. Teenage or young adult stuff. And then it says, and I love this line. You know that this can happen, my friend, to men and women. They burn their heart out of themselves by living too greedily, and suddenly they examine their lives and see that they are worthless. So this is this internal struggle. No, Chris, I will not read chapter 4 again. You can come on and you can read it for us. Gosh,
have Dougie come back on and read it.
Seriously, this chapter would have been so good with Dougie. Saying.
Because I have a feeling that Dougie really likes Draco. I have a feeling that's a character that Dougie would like.
And you can understand why. Because as I'm sitting here reading all this, he's a mafia boss and he's done some pretty bad things.
He cares about his daughter.
Yeah, but you can also tell he does care about people. So you got to wonder, like, who was he hitting off, and for what reason? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
what's his motivation?
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, so he's continuing talking about the girl, and he says, so she tried to get herself, I guess, good, and she decided to settle down with a man, an Italian count named Julio Vincenzo.
Yeah, Vincenzo.
And that's really fun to say. Holy cow, that's amazing. Dougie could not make it tonight, Tina. I say tonight because it's tonight where he is in Scotland. So, I do want to know Dougie's review of these chapters. Very interested in that.
No, not Count Dracula.
Not Count Dracula. Count Jeffula. Oh my gosh. I'm not
no, Count Jeffula.
Jeffula. That's right. We're gonna stay off that tangent. He took as much of her money as he could lay his hands on, and deserted her, leaving her with a little girl, with a child, a baby. And then he goes into the baby dies at 6 months old from spina bifida, I think he said.
Spinal meningitis.
Titus. And so, Russ, why don't you fill in? I'll be right back.
Okay. I mean, basically, yeah, Tracy is basically, she's self-destructive, and she kind of already has been, like, she's kind of always been that way her entire life. And she'll do these things in order to get her own way. Draco even talks about a story where when she was younger, she loves the ocean. She loves to swim. She loves to just be in the ocean. And one day she was not allowed to go to the beach because she had been bad. So they had her basically they grounded her. And she threw a tantrum and basically told her parents that, well, if you do this again to me, I will go to the ocean and I will swim out till I can't swim anymore and I will drown myself. Which for like a 7-year-old to say, is pretty dark. But that, that she's always kind of had this mentality as to, well, I get what I want, and if I don't, I'm going to throw a fit. Yep. And so she's always kind of been that self-destructive, wanting to get in trouble type child. And now that she's been through real life, and she's been taken advantage of by a man, and now has had her daughter die, she does not know how to cope. And so she's basically just, all right, I'm done, throwing her hands up and doesn't care anymore. But yet she's still, Draco is concerned for her, but yet she still runs away from him. And, almost, I don't know if it's because she might have a bit of a conscience and knows what he does, but at the same time just doesn't care. I mean, I don't know for sure, but there's a lot of psychoanalyzing we could do.
Wait, what?
But we do. He's talking about his level of reading his cereal boxes. That's all he can do. Or no, that's Jeff. Never mind.
Oh, and Carolyn's the toy that's inside the cereal box and Cracker Jack box. Okay. Good. Oh.
And Draco actually produces a letter that he received from Tracy from the night that she and Bond spent together, and basically told Draco that once I'm gone, because she had intended to do what she had said, she was going to swim out into the ocean and drown.
Which we've come full circle to chapter 1, where Bond was questioning. Well, but it's with the description, actually, it says she was walking towards the ocean as if she was walking towards the end of her life.
Yes.
Which I was like, oh, that was pretty deep.
Yeah. And no, it's not Draco Malfoy. His real name is Mark Inge.
Yeah.
Draco.
Now, did you go through the part where he finds out where she's staying and has her tracked and follows her?
And that's basically how the two men on the beach are there. Is basically that they tracked him down, or they tracked her down, and he talks about even that Casino Royale was one of their childhood spots. It was her favorite place to come,
right?
And so they would come for vacations a lot here, and so that was kind of the first place that he looked, and sure enough, found her. And then when he finds her with Bond, and he even sees he doesn't see, but he's reported back to that that Bond saved her financially, and stepped in and covered her. That Draco immediately respects Bond, and you see a lot of that mutual respect back and forth in their conversation. And so Draco basically tells Bond that I need your help to save Tracy. And I want you to marry her.
Whoa.
Which again, this is James Bond. He's not the marrying kind. Well, true. He's still not. I mean, because he argues with Draco about it.
He doesn't have the patience.
he really does not want to get involved,
Right.
and really does not think that that will help her. He thinks that she needs to see a doctor first.
Yep.
And to go, get that figured out. He still cares about her, but that he cannot take on that responsibility.
Yeah.
So, and so they basically they come to some sort of another agreement that as long as as long as Draco gets her the help that she needs, that he will still come back and take care of her. They do devise a plot to take her to to have Bond take her to dinner that night, and to somewhat explain all of what has happened and how Bond is. They make up a story as to how Bond is somehow involved with Draco, and they know each other, which in reality they just met. And Draco knows exactly, like, he's from Universal Exports. He's actually a 00. He knows all of this stuff about him. He has a file on Bond, which is interesting to me as well. And so you see the power of the Union. And so Draco then offers Bond anything else that he wants in payment for what they've agreed with. And so Bond decides to ask, okay, well, do you have any information on Blofeld? And welcome in, Keith. And so Draco basically tells him that yes, that Blofeld is alive, and that he's operating somewhere in Switzerland. And so they, immediately Bond gets excited because
Candy store excited.
Because now he's back on mission.
Yep.
And there's a purpose to what he's doing. And so he still is thinking of Tracy, but at the same time, now it's all broken. And so then Draco even also says that, hey, if you need me, call me. So he now has the backing of the Union, the Mafia, in order to help him, as well as he's got the British government. So and that's where the chapter ends. It's very good. I just love it. I mean, and I'm sitting here thinking while I'm reading it, they're in this dark kind of smoky room in the back of this trailer, and sitting there drinking whiskey and talking about this stuff. It's a classic Bond scene. It's just neat to me. So but yeah, that's where it ends, and we're ready for chapter 6 for the next time. So
I need to know what happens on this dinner tonight. But I did read ahead a little bit, and I'm not gonna. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. But it's really good read. Excuse me. Oh man. Yeah. So
definitely do. I mean, if you've not started the book, I would definitely recommend reading.
They're really easy chapters to read.
It is. It's not. They're not super long. They're and they're Ian Fleming is a very great writer, and very good at giving the details, but not going overboard. He's good at oh, Tim. I'm sure Tina would. I think that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow night on our show. Instead, it's the top 10 race or hottest moments of James Bond. Oh no. But no, I definitely do recommend you guys reading it. It is very, very good. So, and it's only going to get better. You know, and again, I'm remembering things from the movie as I read this, and it is pretty well spot on with the script, just with so much more added in. So, so it is very good. So yeah, cool.
It is good. Yep. All right.
So we're gonna plan, I think, for 6, 7, and 8 next week.
Yeah, let's do that. 6, 7, and 8. Okay. Hopefully we'll have the full crew back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll hopefully figure out Gina's issue. She was having some audio problems.
Right.
First time ever doing this. It's there's a lot more involved than what you think. So
and if you are new watching my channel or were watching my channel and left because it wasn't Disney, I should probably be putting in more disclaimers. You know, I'm not just a Disney channel. I do a lot of other things too. And so I'm very involved in the Disney community, in the Disney YouTube community. But we like to do some other stuff here. And so this book club is one of them. We're not really doing a book club, a Disney book. We are doing the James Bond one, and it'll change every book. So I hope you like it and want to stick around and hang out with us and be a part of it. So try to keep it to a G-rated level, but yeah.
And I think we did a good job. I mean, we're just we're playing around with it, but yeah,
could have got a lot more out of hand if either Dougie or Tracy were here.
Probably so.
Yeah, Travel Adventures with Eric B. Welcome in. We're just wrapping up, guys. Carlos is on right now. Disney World Freak. You may see me.
So Tim says that he would come on and read it, but we're out of time. And is it okay if Bond sounds like a Tennessee hillbilly?
That would be really interesting to read a Bond line in each of our accents. Like he's Scottish, Tracy's hard R, my no R's, and then the Southern. That would prove to be quite interesting, to say the least. So, Russ, what do you have coming up on your channel?
Saturday I'll be doing my top 10 best moments from the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then I keep putting it off, but I need to finish my next Lego video. So look for that here in the next day or two. I get busy and then forget about it. So, but yeah, and then I'm sure I'll be on with others and here and there. So, yeah. And then Sunday on Tracy's channel will be episode 3 of WandaVision. So, as long as they just do one episode, we might do more if they do more. So,
great, sweet. Tomorrow, Wednesday, whateverness, we're going to be talking about our top 10 things to eat at Disney. I have surprise guests joining me and some of the usual suspects. And I'm working on a Lego stop motion video with the Mando set that I did last week, and I'm so excited. I froze my butt off for an hour and a half yesterday outside making this video. And I realized I kind of messed up a little bit, and so I need to go back and reshoot something. And then I had one man down, fell in between the cracks of the wood, and it was a great, glorious mess. So anyways, all right, guys, go check out Carlos, Disney World Freak, and all the streams. Next Tuesday, we want to shoo you over to Dean at the Live Place, www.theliveplace.com for all your family-friendly entertainment YouTube guide. Go check out Dean at the Live Place. All right, guys, have a great night. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week. Bye.